My name is Angel and welcome back to my little corner of the internet. Or if you're new here, welcome and I hope you stick around.
Hi, hello, editing to me here, editing months after the video has been filmed, and so my hair has changed once again. This video is already kind of long, but I have an announcement to make, so we're gonna make it a little bit longer. I have a podcast now. I film it with one of my closest friends. His name is Kainoa. We upload on the 1st and 15th of every month, so I've been putting the link in the description because by the time we released the first episode, I had already finished editing all of the videos that have come out so far, and I didn't feel like re-editing them just to add this announcement, so I'm adding it here. By the time you see this, we'll have had 6 or 7 episodes out already. Check it out, the link's in the description. We just kind of sit and talk for half an hour. I hope you guys can enjoy the podcast. Yeah, that's all. So let's get on back into the video. Hope you guys enjoy it.
As you saw in the title, today's video is going to be about Love Alarm, which is a 2019 K-drama on Netflix based off of a webtoon by the same name. I don't remember the guy who wrote the webtoon. Sorry, guys. Now, Love Alarm is an interesting drama. It takes place in the year 2019 and the year 2023. Now, it's only 8 episodes, so it's relatively a short watch. I actually watched pretty much all of it today. So that's what I spent my Friday doing. Let's get on to the characters. You know the drill. Our main character is a girl named JoJo. She is a pretty interesting character. I mean, she's got a lot of emotional baggage going on. She works at a convenience store, which belongs to her aunt. Very much a not like other girls type of character, but in a way that isn't annoying. Next, we have Il-Shik, the main character's boyfriend at the beginning of the show, a childish, immature gym rat. Not exactly. He does martial arts, so he's not really a gym rat, but he has the mentality of like a 12-year-old. He just bothers me, but it doesn't matter. He doesn't stick around for long. Next, we have Sunho. He is one of the main character's 2 love interests. He's really sweet. He used to model for 17 in the US, and he's just returning to South Korea at the beginning of the show. Lastly, we have Hyeyoung. He's Sunho's best friend. He has a crush on JoJo. He's really sweet, and the way Sunho treats him, you would think that the 2 of them were dating or something. But in reality, Hyeyoung's mom works for Sunho's mom, and the 2 of them have been friends since they were children because of that. Also, Hyeyoung has a really bad haircut in 2019. I don't know why. It's like a bowl cut, but it's like a choppy bowl cut. If you watched my video on Oh My Ghost, he has a similar haircut to the police officer in that drama, and it makes me uncomfortable because the police officer in that drama, if you've seen Oh My Ghost or watched my video on Oh My Ghost, is a terrible person. It makes me uncomfortable, but it's okay. Now for the plot of the show. Love Alarm is an app that allows you to figure out if anyone in a 10-meter radius has a crush on you. I'm a little confused on if it's just a crush or if you have to be in love with them. It's called Love Alarm in English. The app is called Choa Alarm, which Choa means like. But also, how you gonna fall in love with somebody you don't know? So like, it might just be a crush. The introduction scene of this show is JoJo, our main character, and Sunho on opposite sides of the street, crossing the street at the same time, and her love alarm dings for him. But they don't interact with each other. It doesn't even seem like Sunho notices her, so I'm really confused. But then we flash back 4 years to 2019. Oh my god, if an app like that came out in 2019, I think I would cry. So, back in 2019, JoJo and her 2 friends have gone ice skating, and one of her friends is like crushing on some other guy on the opposite side of the skating rink, so they shove her forward to ring his love alarm, and the 2 of them ring each other's love alarm. It's really cute. The rest of the ice rink, for some reason, is paying attention to them. I guess in this universe, if there's an app that tells everyone who has a crush on who, everyone's paying attention to everyone else's love life, which I think is a little bit weird, but it is what it is. Just so you know, for this video, I actually took notes because I watched it all today. I didn't know how long it was going to take me to watch it, and I wanted to have notes in case there was a lot to remember. There is a lot to remember. If I'm ever looking off to the side while I talk, it's because my laptop is set up here. I think for future videos I'll probably have my laptop, but if I don't, I don't. Anyway, we find out about JoJo's boyfriend while she and one of her 2 friends that she went ice skating with are walking home. I don't remember this friend's name, but I don't like her, just so you know. We'll get to why in a little bit, but I don't like her. She's kind of annoying and super pretentious. But we find out that JoJo has a boyfriend and doesn't want to download Love Alarm. Her friend is nagging her about it, and she says, well, I mean, I'm already in a relationship, so what difference does it make if it rings or not? Then we cut to Sunho, who has just come back from from the US. He just got off a flight, and his driver hands him a jacket with his dad's name on it because I guess his dad is running for political office, and they have to go immediately from the airport to whatever event his dad is like some sort of publicity thing his dad is doing. He's not really into it. He's trying to find Hyeyoung, who isn't at the event. I don't know why he thought he would be, but he makes his driver take him to Hyeyoung, who is working at a grill where JoJo part-time works at. She has 2 jobs. I know I mentioned the convenience store one at the beginning. I didn't mention the grill. She has 2 jobs. Her other job is at a grill. Hyeyoung also works there. And Sunho and his driver are watching from the car as Hyeyoung comes outside and starts smoking a cigarette. And Sunho's like, I didn't know he smoked or whatever. And then Sunho calls Hyeyoung, who doesn't answer the phone because JoJo comes out of the restaurant, and they like interact for like 2 seconds, and then she starts walking to the bus stop, and he follows her from like a safe traveling distance. Not that there's ever a safe distance for you to be followed, by the way. Someone's following you and you feel in danger, find help as quickly as possible. But she doesn't realize he's following her. Homegirl would get snatched the hell up if someone who wanted to do that tried to get her. It wouldn't be hard, apparently. She's sitting at the bus stop. She makes an origami frog, and Hyeyoung is still standing like off where he can see her, but she's not looking at him, so she doesn't notice. If she just looked up and to her left, she'd see him. And across the street, Sunho and his driver are watching from in the car. JoJo gets on her bus eventually, leaves the paper frog, which Hyeyoung picks up. She gets on her bus and makes eye contact with Sunho from across the street, and it's a slow motion moment thing that happens. Anyway, back at Sunho's house, Hyeyoung pulls up, and then Sunho pulls up behind him. And Sunho is weirdly possessive of Hyeyoung. Like, he asks him to quit his job because now he's home, as though he was just working to pass his free time. The next day we cut to school, and Sunho comes on to the campus. His phone is going bling 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 every 2 seconds because every girl in school is obsessed with him. But I wrote a question down when I was watching this. He seems so uninterested in everyone around him, to the point where he doesn't even check his phone. So why did he download Love Alarm? You know, like, if you're not looking to date somebody, why do you care who rings your Love Alarm? And none of these girls know him. They just think he's hot. So really, what are the parameters for how Love Alarm decides who you bling and who you don't? Anyway, there's another scene in the hallway later on where Sunho and JoJo are staring at each other, but this time it's in a staircase and they're like right in front of each other, and it lasts for way too long. They do the staring thing a few times. I think it happens 2 or 3 more times in the show. I didn't keep a count. I wanted to, I didn't. But her school is apparently planning a trip to Jeju Island, which she does not want to go on for reasons that are later disclosed. It has to do with her parents that apparently used to live there, but they're dead now, and I don't think any of her friends know that they're dead. She's from Jeju Island. She doesn't live there anymore. She doesn't want to go back. There's another scene where they're on like a track at the school, and there's another moment where Sunho and JoJo are staring at each other but from a far distance, and I cannot tell if they're supposed to be building romantic tension between the two of them, or if Sunho is just pissed because he knows that his best friend has a crush on her. I can't tell why that scene is in there, but it's in there. It's fine. It is what it is. On the way back from school that day, Sunho confronts Hyeyoung about his crush on JoJo because she walks past their car, and they follow her all the way to the convenience store where she works because she also lives there because she's paying debt to her aunt that her mom left behind when she died, and they assume that her parents own the building, which they don't. Her aunt owns the convenience store, not the building, I don't think. She lives with her aunt and her cousin. Side note, I hate her cousin. She's super vain and superficial, and my opinion of her gets worse and worse as the show progresses. But for right now, all you need to know is she's vain and superficial. She thinks that Sunho is the only person in her school who's worthy of being with her. Anyway, Sunho and his mom don't get along, by the way, like at all. Their relationship is very not good. And a few days later, he's supposed to go to a photo shoot thing that she has, and he doesn't show up. Instead of going, he is sitting on his campus, and then he ends up patronizing the main character a little bit because she's hiding in the bushes from her annoying boyfriend. And Sunho talks to her about it for a second and then rats her out to the boyfriend, who wants her to skip out on work to go to an internet cafe, which she can't afford to do. And this is where the immaturity comes in, because he's mad that she can't go to the internet cafe and goof off with him because she has responsibilities. After Suno rats her out and she gets into a mini argument with Ilshik, she has to go to the hospital to take care of some of her mom's hospital bills, and that's funky fresh. Suno is wandering around the city for a little while after paying her medical bills, like her grandmother's medical bills. Jojo dips out on work at the convenience store because she doesn't feel like going. She's walking around the city and Suno happens to see her like sitting at a bus stop. And so he follows her for a hot minute. She notices and then eventually confronts him and says, "Why are you following me?" And they have a short conversation and she's like, "Well, leave me alone. If you keep following me, I'm gonna assume you're interested in me." Because he calls her weird for not having a crush on him because his love alarm didn't ding around her. But she doesn't have love alarm at this point, just in case you were wondering. Even if she had a crush on him, it wouldn't ring because she doesn't have the app. But anyway, she says, "If you keep following me, I'll assume you're interested." He continues following her. They go down an alleyway because she's a dumbass, I'm not gonna lie. He's like, "Hey, let's go talk down this alley," which she should not have followed him down. Like, girl, what are you doing? Do you have any sense of self-preservation? In the alleyway, he asks her if he can kiss her, and initially she says no. She calls him crazy, and they have a conversation where she says she has to go to work and he tells her she doesn't, and then she explains that she ain't got no parents, so she has to support herself. And then he says something about his family being embarrassing, and then he asks to kiss her again, and she says she has a boyfriend, and he says, "I know," and then he kisses her anyway, and then he kisses her again. And I'm real confused on the motive here because at this point I don't really think he has any feelings for her. Later that day, Suno tells Yaeyoung that he kissed Jojo, and he's upset but doesn't say anything. Anyway, so someone sends Ilshik a photo of Jojo and Suno kissing, and of course he ain't very happy about someone else kissing his girlfriend, so he storms into Suno's classroom at the end of the day, and they get to scrapping, although Suno isn't really fighting back. He knew that it would happen because Jojo said that, and when Jojo told him that he would get beat up, he said, "Okay, well, let me get beat up." So when Ilshik shows up to start beating him up, he doesn't particularly fight back. He's like, "Yeah, I saw this coming." Someone runs and tells Yaeyoung, who's like cleaning outside, and then he runs to the classroom and tries to take down Ilshik, and then Suno is like, "Stop, stay out of this. He wants to fight me. Let's just let it happen." But eventually someone else is like, "You have to step in because he'll kill him," because at this point Ilshik has him on the ground and is like stomping on his ribs. So Yaeyoung gets up and tackles him, and then it's 2v1 because Suno gets up to defend Yaeyoung. I don't know where all of the teachers are. Like, didn't nobody call a teacher, call the authorities? Like, there's a bunch of students watching this go down and screaming at them to stop, but nobody thought to get a teacher. Anyway, Jojo finds out about the fight and breaks up with Ilshik, and she downloads Love Alarm because someone gave her a phone that was compatible with the app, I think. I don't know. She has the app now. I do have to wonder what the semantics of this app are, because when she downloads it, it asks her to sync up her heart to the app. But like, she's not connected to the phone in any way besides holding it, so I really don't know how that works. How she sync her heart up to the app? How do we do that? And like, it seems to understand people better than they understand themselves, like emotion-wise, because when she goes to break up with Ilshik, he asks her to ring his love alarm or whatever because he thought she rang it earlier, except she didn't have the app at the time, so it wasn't her, it was someone else. We'll get there later. Ilshik is like, "It's fine, one of us likes the other, so that's all we really need." And she's like, "Well, you didn't ring my love alarm either, so..." And Ilshik doesn't really know how to handle this situation. Yaeyoung's mom acts more like a mom to Suno than his actual mom does, because she's like trying to help him after this fight, and his mom is just sitting there scolding him for losing a fight. Also, did I mention how much I hate Jojo's cousin? I really can't stand this girl. Like, she's so awful. But she also is teaching her friends this little Red Flavor dance by Red Velvet, if you know the song. But then the whole school finds out about Jojo kissing Suno, and the cousin makes a huge scene in the middle of the day. Like, Jojo's walking down the hall, her cousin intercepts her, takes her phone and smashes it on the ground. It doesn't break, it's just cracked really badly now, and starts yelling at her for taking everything from her. She even threatens to tell the whole school about what happened on Jeju Island, which is this weird thing that they loom over her head for like half the show, and it doesn't make sense when you find out what it is because it's actually not that deep. Anyway, when she mentions Jeju Island, Jojo nearly snaps and pushes her to the ground and tells her not to bring it up because that's ridiculous and she's a monster or whatever. They get into a physical fight at that point because the cousin can't leave well enough alone and grabs her by the hair, and then a teacher steps in and the cousin is screaming hysterically at JoJo about how she's a terrible person. Girl, this homegirl is delusional. After the fight, she goes back to class and her whole class is sitting there gossiping about her, and they're like, oh my gosh, she's so shameless, I can't believe that happened, whatever. And then her two friends come into class and neither of them says a single word to her. Also, side note, this show plays the Love Alarm commercial a lot, and it features a old school song called Mr. Sandman. That's like not super important to the plot at all, but they just play the commercial a lot. Anyway, Suno obviously sees them get into this fight, and after it ends, he goes to JoJo's classroom, knocks on her desk to get her attention, and then holds out his hand, and the two of them leave the classroom to go and talk, and she like freaks out because she thinks that he sent the photo because how else would anyone have found out about it? They were in an alleyway by themselves, supposedly. And I don't know, this conversation happens and it results in them checking if they ring each other's love alarm. By the way, to make that clear, if I ring someone's love alarm, it means I have a crush on them. If someone else rings my love alarm, it means they have a crush on me. They go to check to see if they ring each other's love alarm, and she rings his. But before he can see if he rung hers back, Kye-young walks into the room where they're having this conversation and sees Suno's phone. So Suno runs after him and to like apologize or whatever. And Kye-young is like, well, we said we would trust Love Alarm. Because eventually the two of them have a conversation where they're like, if we're just gonna keep lying to each other, we just gotta leave it up to her to decide who she likes. So yeah. Anyway, later on in the show, Kye-young's love alarm rings while he's like putting his bike away or something. And he goes to locate the source of said ringing, and he stumbles across a group of guys who are bullying another guy because he rung one of their love alarms. And when Ye-young shows up, the four of them dip because their ringleader is like, anyway, let's just go because he's gonna rat us out, so it's not even worth it at this point. And then we learn that this kid actually has a crush on Ye-young, so real internalized homophobia there because he's crushing on a guy and bullying a guy for crushing on him. When Ye-young finds this out, that the guy has a crush on him, he demands that the guy apologize to the guy he was beating up earlier. And that's pretty much the end of that interaction. JoJo and her friend, who's I refuse to name at this point, I've heard it several times and I don't care, I don't like her. JoJo and her friend get into an argument because her friend feels like she's kept too many secrets from her or whatever. And like, I'm sure JoJo has her reasons for keeping those things a secret, but it doesn't really matter because like, her friend is really more mad because she has a crush on Il-shik. And I guess she's had one for several years now, but he started dating JoJo and she got mad because JoJo was kissing Suno. Turns out she is the one who took the picture of them in the alleyway because she was looking for JoJo and JoJo wasn't answering her phone. Stumbled upon them by accident, took the picture, sent it to Il-shik, and Il-shik's friends sent it to the Facebook page for their school that like posted it anonymously or whatever, like one of those weird confessions pages that exists. It's a real wild time. Anyway, moving on, Suno makes a point to ask the cousin for JoJo's number as opposed to asking JoJo directly, just to embarrass her in the cafeteria. And you know what, I'm all here for it. Suno's really sweet, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned it. He's like not a tsundere, and I love that for him. He's adorable, and like he has abandonment issues, but they manifest themselves in a like not toxic way. He just wants to show love to people who he cares about. It's so cute. After Suno asks the cousin for JoJo's number, the cousin tries to guilt trip JoJo into breaking up with him by blaming her for all of her family's misfortunes. Both families' misfortunes at that point, actually, because the cousin blames JoJo for the death of her parents and also for the fact that her mom was in debt, and then for the fact that apparently the cousin's parents are, I think her dad is dead actually, and then her mom's an alcoholic if I remember correctly. And somehow all of this is JoJo's fault. Moving on, we learned that Suno's mom tried to poison him when he was little, so that's great stuff. And this is how he and Ye-young became friends, because Ye-young saw her put the poisonous substance into some apple juice for him, and then the mom walked away from him, and Yaeyoung stopped him from finishing the glass. And that's how their friendship started. Kind of morbid, but also kind of cute. Chaos ensues shortly after this happens because the app is banned from their school after the news reports a case of a woman being attacked in the middle of the night because someone was following her. She started to freak out, but then her love alarm dinged, and so she figured she didn't have to freak out because this person like had feelings for her or whatever. Turns out he was bitter because she didn't reciprocate his feelings, so he attacked her with a knife. So the school bans it as a protective measure. And then we learn the programmer of the app is a student at the school who actually earlier in the show gets dogged verbally because he rings the cousin's alarm and she's not having it, and the whole school bullies him, and I think that's kind of wild because he kind of just be minding his business. I mean, he's kind of short, and if we're going to talk about colorism in South Korea, he's a little bit darker than most of the rest of his classmates, but that's not what this video is about. We're not gonna get political. Anyway, we have some relationship developments. Sunho is literally so sweet to JoJo that one night it makes her cry, and honestly, girl, I completely get it. And honestly, everyone is just begging for trouble by keeping this stupid love alarm app. Like, if you don't want someone to know you have a crush on them, don't download the app. It's not that hard because you both have to have the app for your love alarm to ring. Like, you have to have the app, and your crush or the person that's crushing on you also needs to have the app. Like, just delete it. Problem solved. I'm correct. I'm correct. I was gonna ask if I'm wrong, but I know I'm correct. JoJo finds out that Yaeyoung has a crush on her by accident, and 4 episodes into an 8-episode series, we have begun the love triangle for real this time because now she knows. Also, Sunho exists like he's in a drama, and like I know he is, but he like acts like a living Prince Charming. Like, he always says really sweet things, and I'm not used to drama boys that act that way because most of the dramas I've watched feature tsundere type characters which don't know how to communicate. Sunho is king of communication. And I'm here for it. Apparently Sunho's dad doesn't like him either. His family dynamic is really toxic for him. Screw his parents, and once again screw JoJo's cousin. She goes running her mouth to Sunho that JoJo doesn't eat lunch at school, and Sunho decides to pay for her lunch, and then the cousin starts some stupid rumor that JoJo asked him to pay for her lunch, and Sunho overhears 2 students talking about it, and when he realizes what's going on, he goes and confronts the cousin who tries to give him this speech about how JoJo's like a toxic person and he needs to get rid of her and yada yada yada. And he's like, if you're just trying to get close to me because you know I'm famous and my mom's an actress and I'm rich, fine. You can get close to me. I'll post you on my Instagram and you can pretend we're friends. But I don't ever want to hear you say we, referring to the 2 of us again. Literally everyone in this show besides JoJo, Haeyoung, and Sunho is such a mess. They're so annoying and unlikable characters. Like, it's so easy to dislike all of them. Il-shik eventually finds out that this girl has a crush on him, and he rejects her pretty harshly, and she's crying against the wall, and I don't know if I'm supposed to feel sympathy for her, because I don't. Anyway, we eventually find out that JoJo's parents died in a fire. Well, it's not a fire. I'm pretty sure it was intentional, and it was a planned suicide, because they fall asleep with some burning hot coals, and for those of you who don't know, those release carbon monoxide. They also taped all of their windows shut and took like 8 sleeping pills before they went to bed. JoJo didn't take any medication. I guess they thought she was just gonna sleep through it. She woke up coughing in the middle of the night, realized what was happening, tried to get them to wake up. Neither of them were waking up, and so she busted open a window, climbed through it, and ran all the way to her grandma's house, God knows how far from her parents' house. The only reason that her cousin is holding this over her head is because instead of choosing to die with her parents, she decided to live and ran away to her grandmother's house. She eventually decides to go on the Jeju trip because Sunho wants to go, and then he decides he's not going because she's not going, and then she decides she's going, so the 2 of them go. She and Sunho are having a great time. They're real cute, it's real sweet, it's real funky fresh. Stupid teenagers are stupid. At some point, they accidentally manage to set fire to one of the comforters in their room while they're like kikiing, a bunch of them. And JoJo goes into like full panic mode. She eventually leaves the hotel and Sunho runs into her like out in the courtyard or whatever, and she's like, I feel like I can't breathe, we need to go. And so he takes her away. They go on his little motorbike, vroom, vroom, and they go to some nice little place overlooking the water, and they stay there pretty much the whole night. And then the next morning they're riding back to the hotel. Suno wasn't paying attention, nearly hit a car. He swerved enough to get out of the way, but they like slid off the bike or whatever. We don't find this out till later, but when they get back from their trip, he's like off the grid. Like, he pretty much ghosts her for a while. I don't really know why, it's never explained, but he eventually does get in touch with her. But initially, he wasn't answering her texts or her calls, and he wasn't coming to school. Suno does get in touch with her, but I think at this point she's made a decision. From this point forward, we get this like mix of flashing back to 2019 and then also to 2023. So I'm gonna basically tell the story for 2019, and then we're gonna go back to 2023. At some point after the accident, JoJo breaks up with Suno, and he's real hurt, reasonably so. And you might be wondering how she managed to convince him that she didn't have feelings for him if Love Alarm exists. Here's the thing, she was friends with the developer guy, and he gave her a little magic widget called a shield that allows you to block the Love Alarm symbol, and honestly at this point you might as well just delete the app. But it's a shield that means even if your crush is around, their love alarm won't ring, and they won't know that you have the shield either. So basically, she lies. She tells him she doesn't have feelings for him anymore. They check it via love alarm. When his doesn't ring, everyone is pretty surprised. He makes her confirm this several times, and when I tell y'all, my heart broke. I had to skip a couple scenes in episode 7 because I couldn't watch him continue to break his own heart. Like, there's a scene where the developer of the app jumps off of a roof, so now we have a problem. Even if she wants to unlock the shield, she can't because the developer has to do it. And as far as we know, he's dead. According to her, the reason she broke up with him is because basically she was scared of getting hurt, and so she figured that this was the way to go about it. And bro, what? She didn't want to hurt him, and she didn't want to be hurt, so she decided to play martyr and hurt them both. I don't know, man. It was stupid. It's a dumb idea. Anywho's, that's basically all you need to know about the origin story there. Now we're in 2023 exclusively. So, JoJo works as a wedding something. She works at a wedding. And apparently in 2023, when you have a wedding, you and the groom, your partner, have to check whether or not your love alarms ring for each other before you get married. She's also in college now, so that's cute. We love to see it. Love Alarm has these really magical promotion thingies that they do where they show like a heart cloud thing. It's kind of cool. It happens twice in this show. Once at their high school 4 years ago in 2019, and then once again in 2023 when she happens to be crossing the street at the same time as Suno. Real random. Anyway, turns out Suno has a new girlfriend. She's like a model or a fashion designer, maybe both. She's cute. I don't have anything against her, but you know what? We'll get to that later. Later on, Yaeyoung is on a run somewhere, and somebody who's like in the same area, it's in a park, someone who's like in the park is taking a picture or whatever, sees a cell phone, finds 23 dead bodies in a ditch in the middle of a park, and the theory is that they all committed suicide because none of their love alarms rang. Again, just delete the app. Why are y'all so dependent on this app telling you who to love? Jesus Christ. Anyway, at some point in the last 4 years, JoJo's grandma died. We find out Suno isn't in love with his girlfriend, which isn't a surprise to me, honestly, because their first interaction was very weird, and all of their interactions, he very much treats her like a dongsang. If I didn't know any better, I'd think they were related. Yaeyoung has better hair now. It looks like this now. It's no longer the creepy patchy bowl cut. So that's great. He runs into JoJo at a library, and for the next couple of days he does a few cute things. He buys her coffee, he saves her a seat at the library, etc, etc, and she's like, why are you doing this? And he's like, it's not obvious. Before Love Alarm existed, this is usually how people flirted. So I'm gonna get you to fall for me the old-fashioned way without Love Alarm. He hasn't had the app for like 4 years. He downloaded it and deleted it in 2019. Yaeyoung tells Suno about the fact that he's trying to scoop Miss Thang, and Suno is very, very hurt by this. He feels betrayed, and this is when we find out that JoJo broke up with him back in 2019, which I've already told you guys, but This is at the point in the show when they expose it to me. Anyway, after this conversation with Yaeyoung, Sunho goes to the library to find JoJo. I didn't really know what his motives were for that. Turns out he wants to tell her to stay away from Yaeyoung because she broke his heart 4 years ago and he doesn't want to see it happen to Yaeyoung. And it's very clear by this interaction that she's still very much in love with him. So I really don't know why we're keeping up this act that she no longer loves him and why he's dense enough to not realize that it's fake. Anyway, JoJo's psycho cousin steals like 3 million won from her, which equates to about 2,000 US dollars. They get into an argument about it later because JoJo's like, you're such a psychopath, basically. And she has the nerve to play the victim. And then she starts throwing JoJo's things out the window. JoJo goes outside to pick up her stuff. Yaeyoung sees her and I don't actually know if he helps her, but he takes her to the Han River where she yells at the water about all the things she's stressed out about while Yaeyoung stands like 20 feet away from her pretending he can't hear. Honestly, he's so sweet to her. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't really care who she picks at the end of this show. Either of them would be good options. You know how you watch a drama and you know who she needs to end up with because the other one's a bad choice? And she almost never ends up with the choice you want her to end up with because always the tsundere character is the one she goes for, and the really nice guy who like treats her right, who you want her to be with and is usually a better person and better looking, he never gets the opportunity. And that's not this drama. Both of them are wonderful. They both deserve the world. Anyway, oh yeah, Yaeyoung is moving to Busan for an internship. Forgot to mention that. He also forgot to mention it to Sunho. So when Sunho finds out, he goes to JoJo's convenience store job. I don't really know why, because JoJo is busy meeting with Yaeyoung at the school's courtyard. And they have a conversation where JoJo tells him that she can't reciprocate his feelings all the way. And he says something about how it doesn't matter. All that matters is that they're doing stuff together that he can't do alone. I don't really know. It doesn't make sense. I guess it's supposed to be cute and romantic. Then they go on a date and it's really sweet. They do all this weird like kiki and get to know you questions. It's mostly him asking her questions. I don't think she asks him anything, actually. They both seem fine with the arrangement that she's not going to reciprocate his feelings, so it is what it is. We've reached the last episode of season 1, so brace yourself, y'all. This is a lot. After her date with Yaeyoung, she's walking back to her house, and Sunho is standing outside. They get in the car together. They don't go anywhere. They're just sitting in the car. And Sunho rings her love alarm again. He's been ringing it for 4 years now. How you still ringing it? You ain't seen her in 4 years. You went to the US and got yourself a pretty little blonde girlfriend. I have nothing against his girlfriend. Disclaimer. He's just not in love with her, and it feels awkward to watch because she's so clearly in love with him. Like, she rings his love alarm and everything. It's really awful. Anyway, they sit in the car for a hot minute. He rings her love alarm. They have a conversation. She's still sticking with the whole I used to like you but I don't anymore thing, even though we all know it's complete and utter BS. Even he knows that it's a complete lie. And he tells her that if she rings Yaeyoung's love alarm in front of him, he will believe that she's over him. But she has the shield, so she can't do anything, and the only way to get rid of it is to have the developer take it off. So she has to go to this event that the app is hosting where they're going to reveal the developer. Although I'm a little confused because we watched the developer jump out of his window 4 years ago. But she gets invited to this thing technically because, hello, she runs an Instagram account that like is sort of anonymous where they post all of this stuff, and Love Alarm got wind of it, so they invited the artist. So it's her account, so technically she is invited to the thing.
Hi, channel.
Would you like to say hello?
Hello, everybody. So, my name is Kainoa. Maybe my channel is upcoming soon, who knows? But I'm like, see, basically we're like the same person, but like in different bodies. So like when our soul was created, it was like split in half and then put into 2 different bodies. So that's why I exist. So yeah, enjoy the video. Y'all better subscribe. And that's all I have to say.
LOL. Anyway, Sunho and Yaeyoung get into a little bit of an argument over Yaeyoung moving out of Sunho's place for his internship. The argument gets back to them talking about JoJo. It is what it is. They get into an argument. They're no longer friends, I think. But anyway, here we are. Miss Event is starting, and she's on her way. There's a bunch of flashbacks that happen of her with Sunho, and then some of her with Yaeyoung. It's this weird compilation thing that's going on, and she is contemplating what would have happened if Love Alarm didn't exist. Whatever, girl. Then it all goes to like shambles outside of the event because this anti-Love Alarm group shows up protesting the app. But like, I don't know, man, you could also just not download it. That solves your problem. Anyway, they introduce some random guy named Brian as the developer of the app, and now I'm really confused because like, that's not correct. How did he become labeled as the developer? Did he take over the app? Are we just lying to people? What happened to the kid that actually developed the app? Because he jumped out the window, but we don't know if he died. And I don't think he did, because there's a scene where the leader of this anti-Love Alarm coalition that's protesting gives like an anonymous speech from inside a van. It's voice modulated, but they only show like his mouth area, but it matches up with the developer kid who jumped out the window 4 years ago. I don't know why he's protesting an app he created. And my biggest question is, how is she gonna actually take the shield off her phone? If the developer has to do it, does it mean that this Brian guy can take the shield off her phone? Or does it have to be the kid who gave her the shield because he's the one who coded it? There's a lot going on in the last like 5 minutes, because while they're doing the introduction, Hyeyoung is running to the event because he makes the connection that she's gonna be there, and she's walking down the hall and Sunho is with his girlfriend, and then she runs into Sunho and his girlfriend and he dings her Love Alarm in front of his girlfriend, and then Hyeyoung comes running down the hall and then he dings her Love Alarm, and the show ends with this like wide shot of her little Love Alarm circle being dinged with 2 little hearts in the app and both of them standing on either side of her. It's a really dramatic closing sequence, but the show isn't over. I didn't know the show wasn't over when I started watching it, but I took all of these notes, so I'm filming the video anyway, and this will be my refresher course when we get to season 2. I don't know when season 2 is coming out, but this has been Love Alarm season 1 in a nutshell. Hope you enjoyed this video. Wait. Before you go, at the end of all of my videos, I ask a question for you to drop an answer to down below in the comment section. This week's question is, what was the last drama you watched? If you like this video, be sure to leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the little bell so that you never miss one of my videos, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye!